Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome back to the whiteboard. This week, we are going to talk about a topic that doesn't get enough love, but is talked about way too much. It's weird, but it's true. We're talking about lifetime value, and specifically how delusions about lifetime value absolutely rob you of a ton of money you could otherwise make. That seems odd, but it is 100% true. So a lot of our clients and a lot of clients that I hear about and speak to all evaluate marketing on a customer acquisition cost to a lifetime value ratio, right? You are comparing how much it costs to get the customer to how much money over the full lifetime of that customer you made. Seems like a relatively useful comparison. The problem is twofold. Number one, a lifetime is a long time. And most lifetime value analyses don't account for how long it takes to actually realize that value versus the immediate outlay of capital on the acquisition side. So you have especially in today's environment, interest rate problem. The money that you get in the future needs to be discounted back to present value in order for it to be a true dollars to dollars comparison with the money that you are expending today to acquire that customer, to service that customer, to supply your product or service to that customer, etc. So we have a real dollars and cents comparison problem, number one. And number two, it turns out that most brands actually lose money on a big chunk of their customer base, even the ones that think they're profitable on first purchase. So let me show you how this actually looks. What I've charted over here is for an e-commerce business, but the same thing is true for lead generation businesses. That's the real kicker, right? And what we have here is lifetime value on the y-axis, time on the x-axis. And you can see negative dollars, which is basically money you're spending, and positive dollars, which is dollars you're making. Very simple, very scientific. What you see for most brands is that once a user is added to an audience and targeted, the lifetime value declines for a period of time, right? This is money that we're spending over time to advertise to this person, to reach this person, for our salespeople to talk to this person, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? And you can see that happening. Then at some point, they make a purchase, or they submit a lead form, or they do a calculator, or they do a quiz, or they request a demo, or they do a thing that is actually good for you, and that lifetime value spikes up because now you have finally recouped some of that money. But it doesn't, even for brands that break even on first purchase, it actually isn't, because you've spent this money in the past. It's not adjusted to present value. So you're actually still a little bit in the hole. Then we wait a little bit more and they make a second purchase, or maybe they do it, they're sales qualified, or they agree to a project, or they pay you something, right? Then the third, which is when, they subscribe, they become a great customer, a loyal customer, fantastic, right? And everybody celebrates in the marketing department. Number one, the time from first purchase to third purchase can be a long time. We could be talking 6 months, a year. That's an awful long time to hold a negative balance on one customer, let alone for an e-commerce brand, maybe 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 customers. And number two, there's no guarantee we actually get to this point. So you end up in this position where we see the same thing that played out with Allbirds, for instance. That was a brand that failed from success, not from failure. They stuck too many customers too far in this paradigm for too long. And the end result was unhealthy unit economics, a bloated business, crushing debt loads, and ultimately, they went from being a unicorn to, largely speaking, irrelevant. This is death if you do not change it. Now, let me show you how this looks from a real Shopify site, right? Real customer. And what I did here is I picked out lifetime value by customer percentile, right? So what you see here are all the customer percentiles and then a line of best fit, which is this blue line. So you can see the lifetime value by the customer percentile and exactly where it is, and then a best fit line that kind of goes right through the middle. Or by customer percentile, I'm sorry. The percentiles are the dots. The line of best fit goes through the middle. Then you see a normal distribution curve, which is just a standard Gaussian curve. And what we see here is there is a red line that intersects where break even intersects the customer percentile. That point right there, every customer that is to this side of the line is a loser. It is a customer you have never made your money back on. You, your business, your ownership, and your good customers have subsidized these losers. This is the, essentially, as mean as it sounds, welfare state of your business. They are not contributing. Here's the kicker. For some brands that have looked at this curve and said, you know what, we're not going to do this. We're just going to try to eliminate these customers. They will drop top line anywhere from 10% to 20% by cutting between 10 and 20% of your customer base, right? Depending on what products they're purchasing, product mix, COGS, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's about what you're looking at, 10 to 20% reduction, but their contribution margin will increase anywhere from 15% to 30%. So you make less total money in top line, but you make much, much more in bottom line. Because instead of averaging in negative numbers, you're averaging in zeros. Or you're not including them in the average, right? So we make more money by virtue of not losing money on customers. And you might be thinking, I don't have bad customers. I'm sure you do. And what you should do after this video is go pull up your Shopify report, right? Or go, if you are a lead generation business, go open up that CRM, pull a report of all the leads that you have and look at the lead status. And then look at the cost that you had to generate those leads, which you can pull as well. You can do a simple cohort analysis. You can do, depending on what system you're on, you can pull your Google Ads, your Meta Ads data in, and you can actually figure out down to a pretty decent number how much you paid to get each of those leads, where they came from, etc. That's one. Number two, look at your customers with a negative total contribution margin, right? This could be leads that never had an expected value above their cost. It could be your customers or your leads with problems. And by problems, I mean you have your customers, we all know them, who are just return princes or princesses. They are never happy with the product. They take your customer service team's time. They always want to return. Something is always wrong. They're a pain, right? You actually end up spending more money on these people than you ever make because customer service isn't free. Return labels aren't free. Processing refunds isn't free, right? All those things happen. Your low quality leads we covered, and then you have your time wasters, right? You have a lot of tire kickers that be coming in who just want to, they suck up the sales team's time, they suck up the customer success team's time, which again, most brands don't consider an expense, but it is. And they don't ever amount to anything. So you can actually go identify your losers and then find what's common among them. This is a great use case for AI. If you have a sheet of losers with all of their data, go sick Gemini on it and say, tell me what these people have in common. It might be a source like Reddit or Facebook or Google. It might be an offer. It might be a creative type. It might be a product. It might be a customer journey. One brand we worked with found that there was just an offer that tended to bring in, it was a great offer. It was your first one free trial, just pay for shipping. But all it did was bring in customers with a negative CM because some people hated the product and they wanted a refund back. And the way it was set up is that the paying for shipping did not cover the cost of goods. So unless the people actually came back and placed a full price order, They were in the hole. Every single customer they acquired, just on a cost to serve versus cost to fulfill, they were in the hole, leaving alone the marketing cost, right? So that offer was bad. You might have a weird product flow where you see people coming in via influencer pages and they suck, right? It might just be keywords. Certain keywords just don't perform. But whatever it is, you want to find the commonalities. There are always common threads that run through crappy customers. There was a saying that we all learned in middle school or high school: you are who you hang around with. It turns out losers all hang out together. They all might have the same websites, the same social, right? They are attracted to the same stuff. This is true for job applicants as well. It's true for spam leads. They all have very similar behavioral patterns. Once you understand these commonalities, for instance, it might be a keyword or a platform. We want to adjust your targets to account for this. So if you see that Google leads represent 10% of your total leads, but they're 50% of your spam leads or your garbage leads, well, it's time for you to either increase that ROAS target or decrease that target CPA to account for the low quality that you are getting from Google. And once you've adjusted those targets, you want to cut everything else that you can, and you want to do it without mercy. Do not be sentimental. Just rip it, destroy it, pretend you're Thanos. Cut without mercy. So that might mean a channel has to go. If Reddit is giving you nothing but junk, stop giving Reddit your money. Turn it off. You are better to not spend than to spend poorly. It might be audiences. Take these people that suck, they're bad, build a lookalike of your worst customers, and then exclude it from all of your Meta or LinkedIn or Google campaigns. Cut these people out without mercy, because odds are their friends are going to behave just like they do. If there are keywords that you find underperform, exclude them. If your volume goes down, so what? Offers, products, right? If you see there's an offer that's not working or is disproportionately producing loser customers, go over to your CMO, go to your chief revenue officer, go to your chief growth officer, go to your CEO and say, here's the data, this offer sucks. Here's how we can make it better. Here's what I recommend, and go be a hero. If there are products that are loser products, go to your CFO and go to your chief revenue officer and say, hey, the unit economics on this product do not bear out and do not support continued growth. We either need to adjust our cost structure on this product, increase our price, or stop marketing it. Those are our options, because what we can't do responsibly is continue to lose money on this product. It doesn't work. We can't lose money on this service unless there is a clear upsell path, which we need to design. And if that doesn't exist, then cut it. If you want to be successful in marketing, if you want to be successful in business, you have to recognize that it is okay to let these people go so that you can do a remarkable job for these people. And it is not fair, on the other side, to let these people, your great customers, your wonderful customers, your evangelists, your brand advocates, suffer, right? Pay more, get less, so that you can service these people and still make a living. That's not how this is supposed to work. The sooner you do this analysis, you find these commonalities, and you make the changes necessary, the faster your accounts will turn around and the faster your bank account will get bigger. So, if you want something fun to do this weekend that doesn't involve summer sun, go open up your CRM, go open up your CDP, and get to work. Talk to you next week.